Hi guys, hope you're all doing well. Today I want to talk about how to print out the sum of numbers from 1 to 10, okay? And I want to do that using a while loop, because I know I can do that using this cout statement, right? I can just do cout 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 6 plus 7 plus 8 plus 9 plus 10. And I know that this, if we run that, it'll give me a 55, which is the sum of numbers from 1 to 10. And that is acceptable if I didn't say you have to do it using a while loop. Now, I'm saying that you have to use a while loop, so you can't do this. And the reason we're doing it with a while loop is because I want you to learn how to use a while loop to do a sum of numbers, or because later on we're not going to be doing numbers from 1 to 10 or this to that. We're going to get input from the user and do things based on what the user wants us to do. Okay. Again, this is a stupid example, I know. Getting the sum of numbers from 1 to 10 is not really an important issue because we can just add it using the cout statement and using basic math, right? But to understand how it works and using a while loop, this will be the best way to do it. So we start with declaring the variables for the while loop. So int, let's call this one, I can use I, n, counter. Usually textbooks use I for index, but I'll just use counter for this one. Int counter, and that's why they call it a counter-controlled while loop, by the way, because it has a counter in it. Not this name counter. Doesn't matter if I call it I, but it's still counting how many times the loop is executed. So int counter equals 1. And now we need a variable to store the sum in it, right? Int sum, and we want to initialize that as 0. Okay, so, and int sum equals 0. Now let's start writing our while loop. While, we write the condition right here, and then the actual statements go in the body of the while loop. We put the condition in right here, so the condition is basically going to be counter is less or equal than 10 because we want it to do from 1 to 10, and then the increment is going to be counter equals counter plus 1, okay? But we can rewrite this statement as we said as counter plus plus, right? Okay, so now we have a loop that is going to loop 10 times from 1 to 10. Counter is going to be 1, and it's going to go here and then go back and do it when counter is 2, and then go here and go back and do it when counter is 3, and go back. But now, other than using the counter for just counting how many loops we're doing it, we're going to use it to add the actual counters together and then store the value in sum, okay? And after the while loop is done, we want to print out cout sum. Okay, so basically we want to print out the sum of numbers from 1 to 10. Okay, so this is how we do it. We have the sum equal to 0 right here. Okay, what we want to do is we want to add every single counter to that sum. Okay, imagine sum as a box, and then every time you go through a new while loop, you take the counter and place it in that box. So the first counter we start with is 1. Okay, we go here, and what we want to do is put the counter 1 into the sum, right? So how do we do that? Sum equals what? Sum, okay, the old sum plus I, or not I, sorry, the counter. Okay, so we're adding the counter to sum, okay, and we're putting this value into the box of sum, okay. So basically we're changing the value of sum from 0 to sum plus counter. So 0, it was 0, now it's 0 plus counter, and counter is 1. So now sum is 1. So now in the box of sum, we have 1, okay. Now, we go on and we add 1 to counter right here, and then counter becomes 2. So we ask the question, is 2 less or equal than 10? And the answer is yes. So we go here inside and we do the same thing. Sum, the box of sum equals sum plus counter. Whatever the box of sum had before plus counter, because we want to place the new counter in it now. Okay, so what did the box of sum have before? It had a 1 in it, and that came from the old counter. Okay, now we're going to add that one to the value of the new counter, which is 2. Okay, so 2 plus 1 is 3. So then the box of sum now has 3. So basically imagine sum as a box, literally a box, okay? And let me see if I can actually draw a box here. So, right there. Okay, so this is the box of sum. If we enter and we put 1 in it, okay? And then we do the loop one more time. And once we do the loop again, counter becomes 2. We don't take the 1 out. We just add to it. So plus, we add to it the new value. And then this is the box of sum again. Remember, this is the box of sum. And then the third time we do the loop, we add the value 3 to it. But we don't erase this value from sum. We're never erasing anything. All we're doing is we're adding the old sum to the new counter. That's all we're doing. Okay? And now, well, we need to expand the box. We need to make it a bigger box. Okay? And then in the fourth loop, we're going to add a 4 to it. And then we're going to add a 5 in the fifth loop. We're going to add a 6 in the sixth loop. And we're adding this to what? To these, right? So we're adding the 6 to this. And what is this value right here? The highlighted value. It's 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5. What is that? That's the old sum from the fifth loop, right? So we're adding this new 6 right here, which I just moved and totally ruined everything. We're adding this 6 right here to the value of this, which this is basically the old sum. Okay, this is what the box had initially, okay, in the fifth loop. Okay, so we're doing that. And then after that, we have to expand. Again, let's make it a big box like that. Okay, and then add 7 to that. And when we add 7, what we're doing again is we're adding 7 to the existent sum. Okay, we already have a sum and we're adding 7 to it. So that's what we're doing. We have the 7 here, and this is in the 7th loop. Okay, I have a 7, we're adding it to the old sum, which was this, 1 plus 2 plus, okay? And then once you have that, you add 8 to the big box of sum, and then you add 9 to the big box of sum, and then you add 10 to the big box of sum. And then counter becomes 11 here, okay? When counter becomes 11, it goes and then goes back to the while loop to ask, is 11 less or equal to 10? No. Because of that, it terminates. It goes out of the while loop, and it comes here and then continues this code. And that's when it's going to print the sum on the screen. And what sum would it print? Would it ever add 11 to this value? No, because after counter was made to be 11, the while loop was not executed. So this statement for the 11th time was not done. Okay, only 10 times. And that's how sum equals to the sum of those 10 numbers. Okay, we keep adding. When we add 2, we add it to the 1. When we add 3, we add it to the 1 plus 2. When we add 4, we add it to the 1 plus 2 plus 3. Okay, and so on. And this is the box of sum. And yeah, let's take that box of sum out because it's not part of the code. Bye. Okay. Yeah, don't ever think that you can actually write a box of sum in the code. It's really, I just made it up, this box of something. Let's try it out. And we might get errors because I just put a box of the sum there. But no errors. We actually got the value of 55, which is great. That's what we were expecting, and that's what we got. So yeah, please study this code, okay? Really go over it and understand. Now, if you wanted to do it from 1 to 20, what would you change? This number right here. Now it's adding all the numbers from 1 to 20. If you wanted to do it from 10 to 20, change this right here, okay? What if you wanted to do it from 1 to n to a value that the user enters from 1 to n right there, and then get n from the user. C in or C out. Give us n, please. Come on. Please. Okay, and then C in, and you would wait for n, and now what you have is you're adding the numbers from 1 to n. Okay, now of course we're not taking, of course, yeah, n is an undeclared identifier. That's kind of obvious because we didn't say int n. And now we debug it, and it should work fine. Okay, so here you go. Give us n, please. Come on, please. Let's put 3. It gave us 6. What it did is basically added the numbers from 1 to 3. 1 plus 2 is 3. And then 3 plus 3 is 6. So 1 plus 2 plus 3 equals 6. That's what it did. If you would have put 4, you would have done 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4, okay, which is 10. So yeah, please play with the code and try to understand, what we're doing. It's a little bit long. If it's confusing, just make tables for counter and sum and see what you understand from it. If you have any questions at all, leave me a comment, and I promise I will reply as soon as possible. Now go watch my next video after you understand this. Bye.